Before we begin, please note that this episode contains the mention of sexual violence. Please don't hesitate to take a break and take a good care of yourself.
Welcome to our last episode of the series See Through Feminism, hosted by Heinrich-Böll-Stiftung Southeast Asia Regional Office and Feminist, where we will investigate feminist movements across Southeast Asia. I'm your host, Jirada, and we would like to end our series still with the seeing that Southeast Asia has a complex local and colonial histories which have influenced the development of feminist movements in many different ways. But despite these challenges, there are common themes that resonate across the region. And in fact, each country's feminist movement can offer stories that could benefit one another. And the public can also learn more about these feminist mobilization, support, and consciousness, whether in a form of group, a collective, an organization, or even a person. So we investigate these stories, challenges, and lessons one topic at a time. And for our last episode, we end with democracy, human rights, and violence against activists. And we have a guest that apparently we share a lot of network together, but haven't had a chance to have a direct conversation until now. So I'm very excited. She goes by the name Cho. She's a feminist, cartoonist, activist, and the founder of Chwin Toon. Cho is from Myanmar, and she has gained prominence for her bold comic series with the name that I just mentioned. Chwin Toon. The comic series, from what I've been seeing, is through satire and sharp visual storytelling, but also deeply personal as well. It's a work that challenges the deeply rooted religious and cultural taboos, gender inequality, and patriarchal norms. And Cho has been facing various types of attacks as a feminist activist, but despite the violence, she uses art as a form of resistance while still advocating for democracy and gender equality. I think I'll stop right there. Sure. How are you doing?
Yeah, pretty fine. It's really nice to meet you, and thank you for having me here.
The pleasure is all mine. But anyways, how about we start with what's your story? How did you get here at this point?
Yeah, so like people know me as a cartoonist, but fun fact about me I cannot really draw cartoon. It's kind of funny because I want to draw the cartoon, then I'm very enthusiastic in animations and drawing and cartoons because I grew up watching Japanese anime. So when I try to make the comic, I have the artist that draw my thought. So I tell him what to draw. This panel, I want like this. I want like this in this position. This person talk that person talk about something like this. I started my cartoon around 2022. At the time, I was studying master degree in Mahidol University in human rights. As a student, I had to quit my job because of everything happening in Myanmar, and I moved to Thailand. I'm outside already here, so I want to do something. I feel like I just don't want to be someone who just outside and studying and having a good life. I just want to start something, and I started the cartoon called Chwin Toon. So it just how it's happened.
Could you explain the how did you arrive with the name? Where does that come from?
For some reason, people from Myanmar who work for revolution have so many names, including me, Choi Cho. So my name is Cho Yin, and I do the cartoon. The cartoon is all about me because I face not only me but also other women in everywhere on the earth. So we face patriarchy, we face discrimination, everything. So I want to turn this struggle into the cartoon and as a daily life of me. So as my name is Cho Yin and the cartoon is Toon, it became, when you pronounce Cho Yin together, it became Chwin, and Toon came from the cartoon, so it became Chwin Toon. Yeah, that's how it began.
You started drawing cartoons, and then the experience around the harassment against activists happened, or it's kind of the other way around, the experience of harassment and attacks kind of push you to draw cartoons.
I consider myself as a feminist activist, and I usually do a lot of activity. So when I started in my cartoon advocate about social inclusion, gender equality, and like feminism. And I talk about queer people, LGBT right and thing. And sometimes the very strict religious thing that even could kill people, things like that. There was a cartoon that I talk about woman clothing in Burmese in our country, like wearing a short skirt. It's like an invitation. Like I think it's like general and like on the in the earth, the whole earth. In this cartoon, like the guy is like talking about, oh, look at her clothes, like revealing so much that deliberately like arousing men and like asking for it, something like that. So me as a like, look at your face, like you're it looks so damn that practically asking for a punch. So at that time, that person like, that's you cannot punch what other people face look like. So I reply like the same apply to her. You cannot just go around and like raping people because no matter what they were, something like that. So this cartoon was kind of viral, and like there are so many people trying to attack that because I talk about like this, because I'm like trying to cover, clothing, it's not a problem, but there are men in the comment section like, if you're wearing like a slut, you're like blah, 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 blah. It's like a lot of hate, and like they accuse me of being like slut, even though they don't even know me. And also other cartoons protecting about like a queer person, and like they accuse me being a gay as well. They don't even know me, but they just like assume. And one about the religious, they accuse me of like other religion. For example, like if I'm talking about hijab, from like you are in other religion, you're a Christian, you're Buddhism, even though I'm not any of these. So they just like assume and attack in every kind of possible way. Not only in the cartoon, I also got like so many harassment in my personal account as well. Most of them are like death threat and like rape threat. Yeah.
Hearing that, it sounds so disproportionate, like grossly disproportionate from the message that you were trying to say. It kind of got me to think about the accusation of you being the other. Like it's as if there's like an archetype of the other that we have to hate, and this other has to be for some reason marginalized somehow, being gay, being a Muslim, being
Yeah.
like just complete other. Is there any similar patterns that you've noticed among maybe your fellow activists, your friends, your, movement partners, anything along that line?
Yeah, I usually like speak out about like harassment and like power abuse, not only in my cartoon, but also in my personal account. There are long lists in my message requests that queuing to like, curse me so many people. And then during the revolution, I don't only talk about like military violence and thing. I also speak out the harassment, power abuse, sexual, sexism and things happening in revolution as well. So like these people also accuse me of like destroying the revolution or like staining the image of revolution as well. The pattern I see is it's not only me, but also like other feminist activists as well. So when we all started the revolution, we were trying to achieve the absolute revolution, which is like free from like all forms of oppression, such as like sexism, racism, and like every kind of oppression things. But when the revolution took longer, these like agreement became like fade away. And so even in the revolution, the people became like started to become sexism and like racism. They started to discriminate minority, queer, and like women. So when the feminists and activists talk about it, now like they became like a problem. And other activists also face the same, like such kind of speaking out activists. They are like, we are treated as a like outsider because so many people are struggling and like sacrificing in this revolution. So like they feel like they have the responsibility to protect the image of like the revolution. but it is not the correct way. The correct way to have a good image for the revolution is like to have the actual justice in this event, and like how to take responsibility and accountability in that, in that event, not just like trying to cover it up. Like, no, our leader are not doing this, they are very innocent. No, that's not the right way. Yeah.
The first thought I had is whether there are internally, whether there have been a hierarchy in terms of like the goal, because I've been hearing a lot of, in many countries when they're talking about democracy, is democracy come first, and then, gender equality, you could wait, you could come later.
Yeah. When the revolution started, like it was very famous, Sarong revolution. We make the flag our sarong and like, protest. And also there are like queer protests, and like every minority or like everyone, the ethnicity, like on the front line, and we work together. So we consider, oh, now we are in this together, we are doing it together. But when became took longer, that kind of equality began like fade away, and like people started talking about revolution first and other things like can come later, something like that.
And you also mentioned about the revolution has to have like a certain kind of image to it. Could you explain what that image would look like? Is it like a male
Yeah.
dominated
Yeah.
show? How does that look like?
It's a man word, the patriarchy stay there. We thought that we were in the same when we started, but later on, the leadership position, a decision making position, only the men are in that position, and like women and queer people starting to become like side character. And then, like, and also ethnic minority also became like, side character. They just, when there is some event, maybe like International Women's Day or something, they just took out some women and like, this without the woman, we are not be able to do anything. And congratulations for the woman, blah blah blah. And for the like queers and blah blah blah, they just bring out one queer person. Oh, here is a queer person. Like that thing keep going on and on, things like that. We are not promised the fully participation. Just become like mascot or like something to show when things happen. Yeah.
And how do you and also fellow feminist activists reclaim that space back? How do you fight back within such a male-dominated space?
It is really difficult, because when we talk about women and queer are also should also be in the decision making position, in the leadership position. We just want the position because we are women, like just using the woman card. Okay, we give me the position because I'm woman, something like that. But it is not that way. There are so many talented women and like educated women, who could do so much better than in this position, but they just like forgot or like don't give a thought or anything. So when we talk about like women should be in this leadership position, at the time the response is like women are not qualified. Some people actually say that women might not be qualified in this leadership position, but how do they consider this male person is like qualifying? There is no checking the quality in this position for a male person. But when a woman's a queer person trying to step in, they just like, are you like qualified? Are you able to do that? Then, like questioning that person. So this is what the Myanmar feminists are like fighting for. Like they don't even know the woman. There are women who are educated and qualified enough in this position, and women have to like try or thrive just to prove that I am in the same level with you, just to get the recognition. It is like it shouldn't be that way. We should be treated the same.
Right. It's like you have to keep proving yourself just because, you're a woman.
Yeah, not only me but also other women leaders.
And how does a response look like when there's like a fight back?
They're really good May alliance out there, but like most are like these women are like jealous and like trying to take the position. This is the pushback that we got back from them.
I see. And let's say if we zoom out and we look into some sort of the violence and attacks against activists. And we know that, you know, the military regime, they've been targeting activists, right? And when the violence comes from the external source, external from within the movement itself, is it different when it comes to women activists, or they kind of get attacked the same way?
I don't think the same. You know, military directly focus on student, feminists, and also artists as well, and also male activists as well. You know, the famous influencer and people as well. So like for the women and like queer person, they are more likely to get more gender in the, you know, during the interrogation system, or like more sexual harassment. They might get like more sexual harassment, and they are also like record and report about it. They rate and like, you know, talk in and so many things. But I don't mean that the male activists didn't get harassment. They also get the sexual harassment and thing during the interrogation process. But women's a queer person have like more serious than this. It is about patriarchy, I think, because they want the like silent and obedient woman fighting back. It's not a stereotypical woman thing. They are thought of stereotypical women as like obedient, silent, and like sit back, didn't do anything back. But when a woman fight back, they become like more angry. She's not behaving, something like that. For the queer person, you know, they are very homophobic. These people are different from them, they think. So when these people fight back, they feel like, who are you to fight back? For the male activists, like they got like more of like punching or like the physical violence than like other.
Just to clarify to a listener that when we say male activist, we mean like cis male activists.
Yeah.
And another question that I have is, what about ethnic minorities?
Most of the military are like Burma. I'm also Burma. I came from like majority from Burma. So like in the military perspective, they are very patriarchal, very militarized. They think the ethnic minority are like beneath them. For the ethnic minority, the places, their village get like airstrike and bombing is like a daily basis thing. Not even like you know, arresting and everything include the same. For the like majority, they live in like big cities, so they don't usually do in like Yangon and thing.
Wow, I see. And FYI, I don't think we've informed our listener that you've also in exile as well. So was that one of the reason that you went exile, or
Yeah.
and how has living in political exile reshaped your activism or identity or your connection to Myanmar's struggle?
I became an exile because my house was raked down by the military soldier. So like they shoot in our house with the both rubber bullet and the actual bullet, while me and my family are inside the house. So but luckily we escaped. And like after that day I cannot go back to my house anymore. And then I became an exile and then, you know, moved to Thailand. If I have to be honest, like I feel kind of like guilty because in Thailand, like I am free from every kind of oppression that the people inside Myanmar are facing. Everything you can think of are happening in Myanmar. Every kind of operation, you know, arresting, drafted to the military, inflation, airstrike, and bomb. So like I feel very guilty for like having the privilege. Me being able to talk in a pocket here like this, it's also a privilege. I am no longer be able to work with the people on the ground. So I try to turn it into like online and like as much as possible. There are so many ways to support revolution, speaking out, like pocket, writing the paper, and also like fundraising. So I try to be direct, you know, change my way of supporting the revolution, even though I'm not able to work in the ground. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that honesty. And on my end, I feel like Chwin Toon has been shaping public awareness as well. So I wonder, what role do you see your artwork and also Chwin Toon in terms of supporting the resistance, or perhaps also, you know, empowering the groups that you're trying to empower? And did you ever anticipate the level of backlash that it received?
I think Chwin Toon play the role in like spreading like advocacy message and creating public attention and awareness for the gender equality and social inclusion. Because I think the format is like kind of simple and people are very busy. You saw that many people are writing long paragraph to educate, but people don't really read about it like very long. So like I think it cartoon will be very great to spread an advocacy message and people can understand it like very quickly. I also think that it will help bring up the issue and make it easy to understand like everyday sexism and problem inside the movement. About the backlash, like I got a lot. Um, there are message requests. There are people lining up like to curse me for the activism that I do. Having a disagreement is reaching to the direct target, the direct audience. There are so many NGO doing their advocacy message with many kinds of tools, including the long paragraph, the panel, the pockets, and many things. And when we do like the session that took long to digest, people don't usually pay attention. And this kind of message is like just revolving around each other. Like maybe like one NGO do the campaign and like another person from another NGO just participate in this campaign. And then this campaign didn't reach to the actual audience that need to hear the message. So this kind of campaign just revolving around each other and didn't get bad feedback or like bad message. So getting the like backlash and getting the message from the opposition idea is like getting to that target audience that I'm trying to reach. They're that kind of audience that need to hear that message, and most of the message are not reaching to them. So we need to try to find a way that actually go to that people. Now they might hate me, but some people don't really know that because we have like different kind of background and education that we grew up. So like there are people who didn't have a chance to be able to understand these things. So this is the first time they hear it. So they might curse me in a comment, and like there are also some people I don't know these people. They just came here to the comments and like, explain these things. For example, like where women wearing short, women shouldn't wear short, women should protect, religious and cultural everything, blah blah blah. So another person came in, this is not a woman job to protect, blah blah blah. Women can wear whatever they want. So this kind of message could be the first time they heard. Now they become like conversation, and like there are people who finally understand. I think this is the kind of thing that I'm trying to do.
I'm so in love with the fact that you said you get the hate because it's working, you know?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
that's how you can get your message across, and hopefully it will land onto someone somewhere,
yeah,
like a seed, and it sprout into something else. But meanwhile, if you're
yeah,
gonna, if you get hate, then you're doing the work, right? Then
yeah,
something is
yeah.
working. You agitate them.
Yeah, if I only get like supporting message, this is from my friends, not from the audience.
And you also mentioned about like, the long text, a lot of explanation, and for you, you make it like a really short, easy to read kind of comic. So
Yeah,
I wonder what power you think visual art has in terms of like political and feminist movement.
I have a thing about like Japanese anime, and I grew up watching these, and I see these anime bring the really big message. So like people kind of just consider them as a cartoon. So like Naruto, Pokemon, Attack on Titan, but they bring like very big message. So just like I told you, like there are so many NGO trying to spread the advocacy message, but I see then it's not working, I guess, like just revolving around each other. So I want to find a new way that actually work. At the other hand, I also have the obsession of the Japanese anime. So like, okay, what about like I combine this cartoon and turn it into a digital tools to advocate my passion, which is like feminism and social inclusion. It brings very big message into a small cartoon, which are like easy to digest for like people can just look at it when they go to work, like on the bus, on the train, they just look at the cartoon. They don't need to took so long to understand. It is like using the cartoon as a digital tools to spread the advocacy message about feminism and social justice. Yeah, social inclusion.
I agree. And I think these days, at least I'm speaking for myself, my attention span is so little, just to read comics and like
Yeah.
something really punchy. I think I saw one of your comics talking about International Women's Day, like for 364 days, they're not touching on women topic. And then for one day, we're all about women. And I think you don't have to describe in lots of paragraph, you get to see it yourself, So yeah, I definitely agree. You also mentioned about a lot of NGOs doing this kind of work that might not be effective. And I understand that there are a lot of constraints on that end, right? But do you see feminist movements or other like-minded organizations or movement aligning and helping each other, or has there been any collaboration or even tension or contradictions in the landscape?
Yeah, but people support me, like the feminism and like the local NGO, because this is like local language, so like local most of the NGOs see that, so they support me, not like organizationally, but like individually. They like my cartoon, they share it in their work, and like we support each other in that way. It's not like we are against each other, but I do it like individually, so I have more freedom in like what my content contribute, things like that. As an organization, it will be difficult. Yeah, I could understand that as well.
Right. And I think we've been touching on a lot of issues. So this is going to be a final question on my end, although I definitely want to chat with you for much longer than that. I've been hearing a lot of resilience on your end, right? You move out of Myanmar, whatever you do, you always come back and talk about gender, about human rights, and in different shapes and form that you could do. So I'm curious to hear about what keeps you drawing and speaking and fighting all this time.
I think the only thing that I have is like passion. I don't really have much. I feel like I have the privilege and freedom that the previous women rights and feminist activists fought for. That's why I'm here, standing and sitting, able to talk about this thing, that thing, without being killed, without being burned down by accusing, yeah, this is the witch. So like this is the collective effort of the previous generation feminists that they work for. We are walking on the road that they paved. I also want to continue paving that road to be able to work the next generation, and like other queer peoples, and other minority could work on the road, and they could continue this long time journey. We don't know when we will get like equality, even though if I reach like 100 years old, like nothing can guarantee that we will get like gender equality. So this is a long-term journey, so we are getting the merit of the feminists of the previous generation, and like I also want to contribute to the next generation to be able to work better road than us. Yeah.
I agree. And I think feminists are painfully stubborn in the best kind of way. So I
Yeah.
really hope that other generation, pick up the things that you do and they just run with it, knowing that you built something based on other generation as well.
Yeah, most of the feminist activists don't usually think that they are able to do much. For me as well, I as an individual, I don't feel like, oh, am I really contributing to the community or thing? But I feel that even in the previous generation, they might also feel that way. Did we really contribute in these things? But I think as a collective, we contribute something. Not as an individual, we are nothing like as an individual, but as a collective, as a way, we contributed in a way, and it became like maybe like one particle for that pavement to the general equality or something. Yeah.
Another bonus question that I have now that
Yeah.
we touch on this topic, and I really want to hear. It sounds like a really overwhelming task at time as well, So how do you care for yourself? How do you, take a break, step back? And I hope you do. How do you
Yeah.
care for yourself?
So in Chwin Toon, like we only have like 3 members, me, the artist who draw from me, and the finance. When I have the idea, I just post it. But when I got like many backlash or things, and like I tried to take a break. I think last year the backlash was very, very big. It's not from the cartoon, from my personal account. Like I speak out for a like advertisement, which is like sexualize or objectifying the woman body. It is a revolutionary product. That was a very big thing. So like I speak out about that, shouldn't do that, and like I got lots of hate about it. I was even scared. People know me, my red hair. People recognize me very easily. Even the cartoon, I use the same red hair as well. So even when I go out and like I sometimes I feel like even though they are not watching me, I sometimes I feel like, are they looking at me, and how do they know me? Do they know me as like, destroyer of the revolution, or as an individual, something like that? So sometimes I just take a break. I just stop looking at the news. So they, in Myanmar, there are always bad news like every day. During these days, like I'm just taking a break. I try not to look at it. I try not to speak out about the thing, because even I'm taking a break, there are other feminists that are doing these jobs when I'm taking care of myself. So like at the time, I just trying to do like fun thing with my friends. Like I usually go like camping with my friends, have a sleepover in the campsite, and I do like some funny thing. I watch anime, and like I also sing, and I'm also practicing my drawing as well. So like I think that's how I heal. I also don't hate the people that having the backlash toward me, because like we came from like different kind of society. We are not here to fight. We are here to have a agreement, and to go to a better way. They also have like their point of view. We are trying to just understand each other. So like we are not the enemy, and we are just trying to understand each other and going to the same direction. Yeah, I think that's way.
I imagine you doing camping, singing, drawing,
Yeah.
and that feels like joy. That's good to
Yeah,
hear.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So before we wrap this up, is there anything you want to share? Anything just want to promote? Is there any questions perhaps you might have? Anything you want to share at all?
Just check out my cartoon. I also try to make it like English version, because like my cartoons are like kind of funny in Myanmar version, but it's kind of difficult to make it like funny in like English language. I'm trying to make it like look funny in English as well. Yeah, just check out my cartoon.
I think it's on Facebook, right? So we will
Yeah.
link that in the description for our podcast as well. But yeah. Thank you so much for today. I'm really glad that we could finally connect and have a direct conversation. And I wasn't aware you've been so honest, funny, authentic, and also possess such a remarkable resilience on your end as well. So definitely you've gained a big fan for not just your
Thank
work
you.
but also your lifestyle and personality.
Thank you.
I think we're just gonna wrap up the podcast. So yeah, thank you so much, and bye bye everyone.
Yeah, bye-bye.
So this is the very end of our series, See Through Feminism. Thank you for listening. As mentioned earlier, this is one of the 4 episodes where we investigate feminist movements in Southeast Asia. Please feel free to check out the rest of the episodes in the series if you haven't already. We end this podcast with the hope that you are able to see the diversity in feminist movements in the region. And at some point, hopefully, these conversations inspire someone, somewhere to do something as a part of these feminist movements in your own way. Thank you, Heinrich-Böll-Stiftung Southeast Asia Regional Office, for supporting us to expand feminist dialogues, as well as all the speakers. If you enjoy our work, we're Feminist, a local feminist collective consisting of data-driven, passionate people. We've worked with policymakers, development practitioners, and feminist activists to produce research with robust intersectional gender data across Southeast Asia. You can check out our work with the link of the podcast description. We're also open for collaboration, so please feel free to connect with us. Thank you for having us, and until next time, take care. Bye-bye.